Welcome back to the Trading Coach Podcast. In today's episode, we're going to talk about indicators, how not to become overwhelmed by them, and how to use them in a more practical way. I do like the stochastics. It just gives me a very similar look to the RSI, but there are slight differences. So what's interesting is, right, I was doing I did a podcast last night, right, talking about kind of trading biases and strategy developing and filtering, and how basically how sometimes we give up too early. And I was talking a little bit about just explaining what strategy development is and what filters are. And when we look at filters are like different indicators or signals that either help us get into a trade or tell us to stay out of a trade. And I talked about how, there are different filters for entries. There are different filters for exits, right? Stops or targets. And there could be multiple filters as well. One thing you want to avoid, and we showed a picture every webinar, is having too many filters. You don't want 100 million things on your chart, because then you get kind of analysis paralysis, right? I remember back in the day, right? Back in my day, when I was new to trading, I was learning about indicators. I went on this journey, right? Let me know if you guys have ever done this as well. I went on this journey where I was just searching the internet and reading books, and every time I saw a new shiny indicator, I'd be like, ooh, I'm gonna add that, right? So it was like, I just read about 10 different indicators that gave me signals to buy. And my genius mind said, okay, well, if each of these indicators by themselves, right? Again, this is stupid Akil, because no indicator by itself tells you anything. If each of these indicators by itself tells me when to buy and sell, if I just take all 10 of them and throw them on my chart at the same time and wait until they all line up, I will get the best buy and the best sell signals. Woo! Forex money, here we come. I started plotting out how long it would take me to become a millionaire. Real story, not even lying. I think it was 6 years. It was 6 years to turn like a $5,000 account into $1 million account. Right, I was counting my chickens before they hatched, which you should never do. I actually just I went in the other day to get renew my CPR certification, and I'm trying to be more social, right? I'm not a very social person, and my wife's very social, so I try to be more social and make small talk and make people feel good. I'm working on it, guys. And I was talking to the person that did my certification, and she's got kids around my age, and she basically lives on like a farm. She has chickens, and she basically explained some very brutal stories of why you should not count your chickens before they hatch because of the death rate, and it got really sad real quick. But anyway, don't count them before they hatch, right? That's what I was doing. So I go ahead, I throw these 10 indicators up on my chart, right? I got barely any chart left on my screen, right? I couldn't even see a price chart. It was all the way up in the top, right? The whole bottom, 8/10 of the bottom was filled up with indicators. And I'm just waiting and waiting. I didn't know anything about tweaking indicators either, so I just used the default value because, the default value has to be the best, right? Why else would they make it the default? And I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting for these signals, and I'm waiting, and I would get like 2, and I'd be like, okay, here we go. I get like 4, okay, here we go. I'd get like 9, I'd be waiting for that 10th one, and then by the time I get that 10th one, the other 9 would give me a opposite signal. And long story short, Jimmy says I was an indicator inspector, right? Inspector Gadget. Inspector Gadget, right? Long story short, I never got a trade. I never got a trade. Right? So you don't want to use too many indicators. What I've learned over the years, and I did go through a period where I was very highly against indicators, and I'm not sure if it was I think it's because I went from that kind of dumb style of trading to strictly on price action, and I was this weird, stubborn type of place where it's like I had to be that way because it's very hard to be confident in yourself if you don't kind of fully buy in. So I fully bought into. I'm like, indicators are stupid. It's price action only. And then after becoming successful and becoming more open minded, whatever, I've grown to like indicators more, but understand their role a little bit better and how they operate. But you don't want too many indicators on your chart because one, it's going to give you confusion. It can give you paralysis analysis. And two, if you're going to use different indicators, you got to make sure that they're telling you different things. There's not necessarily a value in having multiple indicators that give you the exact same signal, right? Just how an indicator should complement price action. If you're using multiple indicators, one should one should complement, it shouldn't complicate, one should complement the other indicator or at least give you a slightly different look to provide some confirmation. So I do like the stochastics for certain purposes. I use it a lot in my testing. But as far as my personal trading and how I trade right now, the RSI is the one that matters most to me. But the stochastics would be second. What's your favorite indicator, guys? While we're on topic, what indicator do you like? What's your go-to? The RSI. Sarah says stochastic set to 5, 2, 3. Fast one. Great in tandem with the RSI. Who is it? Roberto used a really fast stochastics as well. He used that with his inside bar strategy. Yeah, I like a fast stocks as well. Some of you guys, we got some moving average people in here, right? Any volatility bands? Any Keltner channel, Bollinger bands, Deutschian channels? MACDs. Usually MACDs is the popular one. No MACDers in here. I was never a big MACD fan. Sounds like an 80s hip hop group, right? MACD. Jimmy says took them off except learning use RSI. Yeah, you know what, Jimmy? I think that's I think if you learn price first, that's always my opinion. Because I think if you, I think we have to accept that indicators complement price. I think if there's a hierarchy, and again, it doesn't mean that you can't have an indicator based strategy. I'm working on one of that right now, but indicators move off of price. So price is always going to be king. I think we can all agree on that. Price is king because indicators won't print until price does something, right? So if you understand price and you understand how price moves and you understand what you're looking for in price, I think it's easier to understand your indicator because now you can see how your indicator is reacting towards price. You can tell if your indicator is complementing it, if it's going against it. You can learn how to tweak your indicator. Again, that's a very underrated skill, the ability to tweak your indicator to give you what you want. And when I say give you what you want, I don't mean force something, but you may need to speed something up. You may need to slow something down in order for it to capture what you want it to capture or complement the way you want it to complement. So I think if you learn price and then you go back to that indicator and now you look at it in a different light, I think that could be very helpful. Because now all of a sudden you can read your stochastics and you can look at like a lower low, lower close. And you're like, okay, I want that cross to happen right at that swing point, right near that lower low, lower close. I may need to speed the stochastics up a little bit. Or, oh, this is giving me a signal too quick. I might need to slow this down some. I think that's, it's pretty cool how you have that change in perspective. My favorite indicator is the horizontal line tool. My favorite one, support and resistance, the horizontal line tool. Good old sideways line. Nothing beats a good old sideways line, right? Jimmy says, yes, reading price action is now a lot better for me and just using that RSI as a strict complement. Nice. Good. Cool stuff. Prasad says, yep, horizontal lines. I'll count it as an indicator. It indicates something for me. It probably doesn't count as an indicator, right? It doesn't really do anything, but that'll be my favorite tool then. That'll be my favorite tool. George said, back in the day, I used to use a MACD. Yeah, cool. Awesome. So anyway, trend continuation trade on pound dollar. We had to double with the higher, lower close is your first strike. Double top would have been the second opportunity. You can look for a 26.18. Of course, if you get a fresh break, that restarts the cycle and you can look for the same stuff all over again. So cool. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you did, do me a favor, give this podcast a follow. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I've got videos and new stuff coming almost every day of the week. Just YouTube search Akil Stokes and you'll find me.